Hello, everyone. Here we are once again, episode number 10 of the Corner Blue. Today, we are honored to have our guest, a very important guest, Carla Portillo. Some of you may know about her. She's a Filipino, Salvadorian, Canadian professional women soccer player. And we are going to be chatting with her about her culture growing up in Canada, her path to pro from playing college level soccer in the United States to a move to Europe, and the challenges in the sport and everything that entails with COVID. So we're very excited about this episode.
How's everybody doing? Yeah, we made it to double digits. That feels great. We did take a week off, everybody. It's just we've been busy, all the crazy stuff going on. And basically, we're just trying to make sure we have enough guests to close out the year and take some time off towards the end of the year because we got Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas. I got a baby coming up on Christmas. So we're going to try and crank out as many episodes as we can before time is a little crunch because of the holidays. But yeah, we had a great convo today with Carla. I had no idea who she was until Hugo brought her up a week ago. And it just seemed like a really cool person to try and get in contact just because she's someone that encapsulates the concept of selecta talent, and also this podcast of the globalization and salvies around the world where someone has 3 different nationalities. And then on top of that, her experience coming out of Canada, I don't know too many Salvadorans from Canada. So it's cool to get her perspective and growing up soccer culture there in comparison to here because she's played here. So yeah, check out the interview. Well, we're recording. We don't necessarily do like a huge formal intro like at the beginning because we mainly wanted to be just like a chat, and we'll do the intro. Basically, we'll record that separately once we're done talking with you. But
cool.
Basically, yeah, we just want to know a little bit about you. If you could give it like a brief introduction to fans, who you are, what your career has been at the beginning, what were the paths to get to being pro and whatnot. It wasn't until recently that Hugo brought you up as a possible guest to the podcast, and we thought it'd be really cool to reach out to a women's pro soccer player, and on top of that, someone that has had a path to Europe, and we kind of want to know a little bit more. What's that path been like?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so basically, I've been playing football. We say soccer here in Canada for probably since I was like 4 or 5. The clubs growing up here were pretty good. Very competitive for Canada. A lot of people think that Canada isn't really a football country, but growing up, I felt like it was pretty competitive. And then we also have provincial programs, so that would be like Ontario, and all the best players in Ontario would be on a team. And so that was with my youth. And then I started to get scouted, obviously, in the States. They would come for showcases here, and I think the Umbro showcase is when I got scouted from West Virginia. And I went through showcases to the States as well, but I ended up accepting the offer from West Virginia, and I had other offers as well, but I just thought that, this is what I want to do, and I want to go here. And I knew some players that did commit there, like Keisha Buchanan and Ashley Lawrence, who are on the national team and play for PSG and Lyon. So yeah, I was like, this is great. I want to go here. So I played collegiate soccer there, and then did pretty well. We had pretty good years. We won Big 12 some years. We made it to the NCAA final, which was like the first time in history for our program. So that was really amazing. And I was with some quality players and quality training, and it was a really, really good environment and professional environment, which is it's nice just, for women's players, obviously, to be in that environment, because when you go into professional, it might not even be like that in the university, which I'll probably get into later. But yeah, so anyways, after that, some years in university, I was called up for the U20 Canadian national team camp. So I did several camps with that. And then after university, I went to France in Division 2 to play professionally, and interesting level. It was a good level of play playing other teams, but the club that I was at I wasn't used to it compared to university, and it was different. Like, you think of like facilities were different. Even getting like trainers to tape your ankles was different. Like there was like specific things was just I wasn't used to, because I thought, okay, like I came from a professional environment in university, and then I would go play professionally, and then it wasn't the same. So there's little things like that, and I think that goes with each team in Europe. It just really depends who you play for, and it's kind of sad that women's football has to be like that. It just depends on the team, but it is what it is. And after that, I decided I wanted to leave and try to find a better team, and then I went to Italy, which is, this is a developing league, but I just really it was the first division, so I was excited because I was in the first division, and that's what I wanted to do. And then my visa was taking super, super long. I didn't expect it, and I guess the club didn't really handle it as well as they thought, because I was an international player. And right before, I had to wait like a month and a half or a month, I don't remember, until I got my visa. And so it was awful because I was training, but I couldn't play in a game. And right before I was going to get my visa to play, I hurt my knee in training, which was really rough. I've never hurt my knee before. And, the ground, our training facility wasn't great. The grass, honestly, was not good. And it sucks because you don't want to put blame on things. But I felt like that was maybe one of the reasons why it might have happened. But again, you never know how it happens. But I hurt my knee, and I had to wait again to play. And since then, I left Italy because I didn't think I was going to get the proper treatment there. And so I came back to Canada, and I've been like working on my knee rehab and getting back to myself. And so now I did sign with a club in Spain. So I did sign for Malaga, but
Nice.
that happened in the summer. But then I feel like I just kept taking L's in my career. But anyways, and then because of COVID, everything was really messed up for a lot of players and leagues. I signed for them. They were trying to get my visa, and then they were dealing with their own financial problems and president problems and stuff like that. And then they told me almost last minute. They told me in a month before the transfer deadline ended, and then they were like, I was like, okay, but I still feel like it can work, and I was still trusting them. And then they were like, right before the deadline, they were like, listen, like we can't make it happen. And I was like, great. Oh my gosh, I was so ready to get into playing again. And it was the second division at Malaga, but it was something that was a professional environment. Training was good, so much more professional than the teams I was with. So I was very excited. And then but the way they handled their stuff with their admin and stuff, it just wasn't good. So yeah, I missed the transfer deadline for this one, so now I'm waiting for January to find a club, and I'm still training and stuff like that and working. But yeah, so hopefully in January I find a club that I can go to and get back to playing.
Well, thanks for sharing. I mean,
I'm sorry.
This has been a rough year in general. So I think
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm trying not to take it too much, because it did affect me a lot mentally, and I felt just so drained in the long run of my career and in this year of 2020. So it was a lot, but now I just kind of am realizing this is just a weird year, and I just gotta keep going because, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, because the way things happen is you can I guess in hindsight you always think things happen for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
Good things will be around the corner. But in terms of football, soccer, growing up, how was it that you started playing? Who was the main influence in your life? How did you start playing just in general?
My brother is about 4 years older than me, and I think when he started kicking a ball, I think I was 2 at the same time. Our dad, so my dad is from El Salvador, and he I don't think we played any other sport really growing up. I think my brother played baseball, but yeah, we would play soccer. I would kick the ball with him, and then I just really liked it. I guess I was really good when I was younger. My dad would train me. I remember like when my dad was training me, I would do like step overs like for a minute, or he taught me how to kick the ball, like he would call it like the power shot and a curve and stuff like that. And so he wasn't amazing. I think any player's dream from like Central America or wherever they want to be a professional soccer player. He's not that amazing, but I think he was trying to live it through us. I think that's what really got me going. And then he put me to see or I trained with the Brazilian coach when I was growing up, Paulo Silva. That was amazing because I was playing indoors and training with futsal balls. So like those are heavy. So I was like training with that and what else? And then growing up, and then I also had an Argentinian coach, Carlos Quiroga, and he was really good as well. So, and he also gave me the freedom to do whatever I want. And I felt when I was playing, when I was younger, I think I developed more and was very successful even though I was young because my coach trusted me to do whatever I want. And I felt like I was messy. Like I just felt like I could do anything. I felt like I was the best player on the field. And it was this crazy confidence that I'm still, like I've lost throughout the years, but I'm trying to get back. But like, it was insane. I think then when I was younger, it was like, I just want to go. I want to do this. I don't care about anyone else on the field. When, yeah, that was something that like I'm trying to get back again. But yeah, it's really cool.
So I have obviously watched videos of you playing, and you are very highly skilled. I was very impressed when I saw your videos. So it's interesting to hear how you've been playing since basically you were a little kid and there was no other sport that you were interested in, and we can see that. But to me, it's very interesting to hear because in this podcast we've had several male players who play in Europe, some not in major leagues, but the environment is very professional. And it's interesting to hear from someone who went through the college system here in the United States, where we know that women's soccer in the US is big. So I'm not surprised to hear that, moving pro was kind of like a downgrade in a way in terms of facilities and even the level from what I'm hearing. But I'm interested, did you ever have a shot at playing in the professional league here in the States? Did any teams ever show any interest?
So the thing with being in the States, I think benefits American players more, just because with international players, they have the cap for each team of this position or the spots for international players, and technically Canadian, I'm international in the US. So I knew I entered the draft, but I knew I wasn't going to get a fair shot because they only have a certain amount of spots, and they're obviously going to give it to international stars like Marta or something. Like it's like very limited. So I felt like I wasn't going to get a good enough chance. And also with the Canadian players that are in the States do get that chance, or they're allocated by the Canadian Soccer Association, the national team. So they get money from that. So it helps the American teams, obviously. So I knew the level of play is good and it's great, but I knew I probably wasn't going to get a good enough shot other than Europe. And that's why a lot of people go there. A lot of Canadians, not even just me, are there too. So yeah, it was a better shot for me to go to Europe.
Do you feel it's more difficult for a Latino player to break into the WMLS?
Yeah, I think that's the thing with like the American League. I feel their focus is Americans and or girls that, you know, have gone through the national team program or academies and stuff like that. So it is tough. And especially with, you know, American style of play is different. Like when I went to university, it's very physical, very like, you know, you got to run up and down the field 30, 40, 50, 60 times. You know, you got to go really hard into tackles, all that kind of stuff. And it was different for me because I was more like skill and, you know, tactics and, you know, all that technical stuff. And that was what I was used to. Even in playing in Canada, that's what we played. We played more technical with physical, but more technical. And I was used to that. And it was different going to university. And I feel like that transcends into their league. And so I think that's their main focus when they're looking for players too. I'm not big. I'm small. I'm only 5'1". You know, I'm not like physically up there. So I think, again, that would have put me a little bit at a disadvantage for like them to look at my profile.
So when you moved to Europe, did you know, work with an agent, or is it just like you mentioned that that's what a lot of Canadian players do, or a lot of other female players do? They basically look at Europe to start a professional career. Did you do that on your own, or did you work with an agent to do that?
I worked with an agent that I'm no longer with because it was a bad experience, but he did get me to France. And yeah, a lot of girls go through agents. A lot of girls go through, like, you know, maybe they know someone there. So yeah, that's usually how it goes. That's what I had. And then, you know, it's hard to build a good relationship with agents and who you trust. It's like a new experience. Like when I was going to go to university, I didn't know about the whole, like, I feel like Americans knew more about the whole scholarship process. And then I felt like I was back to square one after college. Cause I was like, what do I like? Do I trust? I should have done more research on an agent. I should have, like, now I know more, like, you know, like, where have they placed players where, you know, at good clubs for, you know, for how much, or are they just placing players to just make some money and not think about, because like the thing you have to think about when you're going abroad is like you're leaving your home, like you're gonna miss your family, you're gonna be on your own, and you be in an environment where you're gonna be comfortable and like okay mentally. And like if it's, say for example, you're in a small town, like you're gonna be, it's, if you're used to city life, it's different. Or I don't know, other things like language wise, or if they're even comfortable, you know, with your skin tone. Like when I was in France, like I was in the south of France, very nice people, but again, it was a smaller town, so I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me. And, you know, they also assumed different things about me. Like some of the people would think I was Chinese and stuff like that, you know, like there's just little microaggressions here and there because they're not used to someone. So it's like, you have to think about all those things. And then an agent placing you got to think about all those things. And then aside from life, you also think about the team. Like, is the facilities good? Are they going to help you? Are they going to help you with flights? All this stuff. And I felt I didn't know anything about that. And I went blindly into that. So I think that's something to consider for girls going abroad, or even guys. You know, you have two lives. You have the training and your team, but then you also have your life, and you have to be happy with that too.
Right. And it's very different as well for like most countries are just developing their women's leagues.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some work as an agent, but for male players, so I have some idea of how the pay scale works. But in terms of like for you, or for women in general who play professional soccer, is that something you can do for a living, or do you kind of have to find something else on the side to be able to survive? Especially like Europe is not cheap, you know, housing is not cheap in Europe. So how does that work? How do you handle that aspect?
A lot of girls that I felt like in France, because again, I was at not a high level that I found some of the girls had a second job and had an actual working job during the day, and then they'd come to training or stuff like that. So a lot of the girls in some teams have to do that, and except for the international players like me, I could live off what I was making, but again, it wasn't enough. Like, it wasn't a lot, like I could work here for a minimum wage here, a good wage here, and I could make more. It depends. Like, it really just, it's sad because you're in a professional, like, men would play at second or third division and they would probably make more money than us. Like, it's crazy. And so some girls, yeah, but it depends on the league. Each league's different on how much they pay, and then again, each club's different. If they get funding from the men's side, if they get funding from other things, they can afford that. But usually, if people are going abroad, like, it's good for them to cover housing, for them to give you a salary, and then if they can, like, provide flights and stuff. But it just depends. Like, I know, like, some girls that have their own cars, some girls that they get a lot more money, and it's kind of all over the place. But it shouldn't be where the other percent is making much, much lower. Like, it's not okay. And obviously that just has time to change, but yeah.
And at this point, what league would you want to aim for ideally, or at least what do you think would be the best stepping stone at this point in your career?
Well, I just feel like I've been so drained from my career, and I feel like I have deserved coming out from university with a solid, like, first division team. Obviously that didn't happen, like, not everyone's path is the same. And I think for me, the top leagues in Europe that would be of interest to me would be, the France first division, Spain. Germany has a great league. Sweden has a good league. And, Italy is even, like, getting up there too. So it just really depends. But at this point too in my career, where I'm trying to get back into things, I can't be too picky, especially with COVID and everything going on. Teams' budgets have been cut, and that's even worse for women's leagues and teams. But I think for me, it's just trying to see, even if it's like a second division team, or, first I need to make sure that they are a professional environment and that I'm going to get better as a player. And I think that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter what rank they are. And then again, like, a stable income as well, which is, yeah, tough. But
No, totally. I get that. And going back to when you were growing up, what teams did you follow through your dad? What were the teams that came up? How was that?
When I was growing up, I think I remember when I was younger, I would be watching the VHS tapes of Maradona and Ronaldinho and Ronaldo and everything. So growing up, I feel like I was very obsessed with Ronaldinho. So I was following Barca. I've been a Barca fan, but honestly, the past couple years, it's been very rough. So I don't know. I might have to not claim them for a little bit because
You gotta be faithful. Come on.
I know, but it's but no, I've been a Barca fan since I was young, and then even when I was as a national team, I loved Brazil at the time. Again, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, all of them. So yeah, I think that's who I was into when I was growing up.
And in terms of your dad's,
sorry,
go ahead.
And then to bring it back to El Salvador, my dad would show me El Mágico Gonzalez tapes, VHS tapes. I don't even know if we had. I think we had one. And then I would just watch a bunch of YouTube on him.
Did it look something like this? Hold up one second. Did it look anything like this?
Oh my god, I think it did. I don't think they made that. There's only a very few clips of him anyway, so I think that might have been it. Oh my god, that's insane. Like, it looks brand new. Mine was like ripped and everything, I think.
Well, it's a little busted, but
Yeah,
Maybe you
that
can
was it.
make a little money
I was
off of it on eBay or something.
Oh, nice. I was obsessed. Like when he first started to show me him when I was younger, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's sick. And then obviously when you read and watch stuff, he's like, he could have been the Salvadoran Maradona, blah, 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 bigger than Pele, all this stuff. And I was like, dang. But yeah, I really
Nice.
liked how he played.
So speaking of national teams, so you mentioned that your father is Salvadorian, and we also, well, I know that your mother is from the Philippines,
Yeah.
and you were born in Canada. So you have
Yeah.
potentially three national teams that you could play for.
Mhm.
You mentioned that you were called to a U20 Canadian camp at some
Mhm.
point, but in terms of your international career with national teams, uh, obviously my work for the Salvadorian Federation is to look for players, and one of the requests that have come up from El Salvador is to look for players for the women's national team. So if you were to get a call from the Salvadorian national team, would that be something that would interest you in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think for my first, like right now, I think a national team of any choice, because I obviously have three and I would be happy to represent any of them because, especially either Philippines or El Salvador, because that's my blood, that's my parents. But then Canada, it's like, I live here and the program's great and stuff like that. But I think my main focus right now is like getting my minutes in and establishing my career to a good, successful, like to what I think is good enough. And I think I've just kind of got some bad luck there, like for the first couple years of my professional career. So I think I just really want to focus on my club career for now. And then once I feel confident in myself and feel like I've established something, then I'll look into like national team stuff and inquiring about that. But yeah, honestly, like all three of them, my dad would probably cry if I played for El Salvador, like honestly cry. And then my mom probably doesn't really care that much if I go to Philippines again. She doesn't really, she's cool with whatever I do. But yeah, I think any of them would be of interest of me. Because that's obviously any player's dream to play for their national teams. So yeah.
As a kid, did you ever watch La Selecta growing up?
I didn't because they didn't play it here, but I know I followed. If I ever see the news on like CONCACAF stuff, the women's stuff obviously doesn't get like promoted as much. But I do have a person that I know, and that she plays for the national team, and I saw, or the youth teams, and I saw that some stuff here and there in news, and yeah, I get a little excited if they like score against Canada or if they score against someone else. But growing up, I think I was watching more of Canada stuff because of geographic reasons. But
Definitely.
yeah, but I would always like see like highlights or news about El Salvador, which was great. And then oh man, I should have known the name. But and then I have like jerseys from like the club in El Salvador. What's the orange one? Oh my god.
Águila. Was it Águila?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I have like jerseys from that, and I watched like clips of them too. So yeah.
So
There's
is
a
your
Salvadorian American playing for Toronto FC.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I get really excited whenever I see, like Salvadoran players playing for like clubs and stuff like that or scoring, and yeah, it's good.
in terms of culture, we'll leave the footy aside, we'll leave soccer aside a little bit, but in terms of growing up in Canada and your parents being immigrants, did you notice that there's like a difference between like your experience coming up in Canada than, let's say, like the experience that kids have in the US being Salvadoran Americans? Do you feel like Canada was a little more accepting? Did you feel like the other coming up? What was that experience like? Because me being first gen, my experience in California or the Bay Area obviously can be different from people, even in the US. But what was your experience like?
Growing up, honestly, I didn't feel any sort of where I felt left out or someone was judging me for like my skin tone or where I was from. I grew up again in Mississauga in Fort Credit area where it's very multicultural, like my school was, and even in high school. So like majority of my life here was very multicultural. There's, different types of countries, restaurants all over the place. And it was, I don't know, I felt very accepted here. In the States, it was a little different when I went to university. It was more so microaggressions and people, assuming things, even for Canada, and assuming things for like myself. So yeah, that's where, but the worst I think I felt uncomfortable, I would say, was probably in France and Europe. Italy, I felt great. Like, I've heard stories where people in parts of Italy, they don't feel comfortable, obviously, with skin tone and stuff like that. But I think I felt a lot more of a difference with France. And that's where, and not even just of my skin tone or where I'm from or what I look like. It's also like, even being a female in France was different. Like, it was different compared to at home. And yeah, so, and even in teams, and to bring back to soccer, in teams, I felt welcomed and stuff like that with Canada. So yeah,
That's cool. It's almost Thanksgiving. What's
Thanksgiving.
Here.
Yes.
What's the biggest difference between American Thanksgiving and Canadian Thanksgiving?
Honestly, not much. When I spent American Thanksgiving was at my coach's house, Nikki Izzo Brown's house, and that was at West Virginia, and it was big. It was like so much food, so much people, and it was a different feeling. But I feel like a lot of Canadians have that feeling here, but my family's small. So like when we eat, it's just like 4 people and it's turkey and mashed potatoes, all that stuff. But I feel like for Americans, it's like, cause you have it on the Thursday and then you could go to someone's house on a Friday and then another person's house Saturday. I feel like it's like a 4-day event for Americans, whereas as us, it's like 1 or 2 days. And yeah, I feel like we don't take it as big, but I feel like Americans take things like to a next level in general. So
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is my family doesn't really celebrate it. Like it's like a whatever holiday.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll do it, and then sometimes we'll just like buy Pollo Loco and watch movies. Like. Well, that's cool. Let's see. Anything else, Hugo?
Yeah. Do you speak Spanish?
Oh.
All right, that tells me everything.
La pregunta del millón.
I get so judged by any relative, by any person. Even there's a Spanish store down the street from me, and I would go there and pick up anything, and then they would start speaking Spanish, and then I'm like, I'm so sorry. And then they just give you a look, and they're like, oh, okay. But no, I don't, unfortunately. My dad, I don't want to put blame on him, but he never spoke to me when I was younger. And so I know, like, I understand a bit, and here and there, and when I read it, I can understand some little bits, but yeah. And then I know people are going to blame me because they're like, why don't you just learn it? Why don't you learn it on your own? It's so much harder
No,
when you're
not at all.
Nah, it's understable. But
Yeah.
there are apps. I just won't promo them because they're not sponsors yet. So.
I know. Because of COVID, they had a discount with the Rosetta Stone. I think it was Rosetta Stone. There's a discount, and I was gonna buy it and everything, but yeah.
It's all good. So have you been to El Salvador before, or have you been to the Philippines?
Yeah, I've been to both when I was younger, which sucks because I feel like immigrant parents bring you back home when you're younger, but then you forget everything. And so the only time, it was when I was younger, which I really, really want to go back. I want to go back to El Salvador, and then I want to go back to Philippines. But I feel like El Salvador might be more doable because of just my schedule. Like I have my seasons all the time, and I think that would be the only doable one, and it's cheaper. So I really want to, hopefully after COVID and everything, I get to go because it's been a long, long time.
Nice. And what are some of the similarities in culture? Like, I have a cousin who's half Filipino
Oh, cool.
himself, and I told him that we were going to interview you today.
Nice.
He's like,
Uh,
what a find! Like, for real? There's there's a Canadian Filipino Salvadoreña. Like, whoa. But anyway, so yeah, what are some of the similarities in culture, the differences? Because obviously, if you're at a beach in El Salvador looking towards the ocean, you're literally looking towards the direction of the Philippines.
yeah,
That's trippy. You know, like it's
yeah,
like the
that
same
is.
level on the globe. That's
That's
crazy.
crazy. Yeah. I think. Oh, I don't know. Um. Oh my gosh. I guess it would be, well, because Philippines was colonized by Spain, right? So like,
Hmm.
I think the similarities, like language, is actually pretty similar. Some words in Tagalog is the same as Spanish, and then I guess it would just be like parties and stuff. I think it's all about family and gatherings and food, and so I think that would be definitely the similarities. Dancing too, like all that kind of stuff, but
Do
it
they get
sucks.
down to cumbias? Does your Filipino family like cumbias?
They just like honestly, I don't know if they know how to like dance. Like they know how to dance, but I feel like it's more like b-boy stuff and like
Okay.
and then like salsa and stuff. But yeah, I think it would definitely be family and gatherings because I don't know. I feel like both love to party.
For sure.
So, with COVID, it's already challenging, I would say, for any professional athlete, and probably for you. There's like less options for training because Canada, as far
Yeah.
as I know, doesn't have a professional league, right? For women's league, they
Mhm.
just launched a male league like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, what's your routine like? What do you do to basically stay in shape and be ready for that call from the next team?
Yeah, it's tough. I think that's another issue that Canada has for the women's is that there's no professional league here, and even we did have a semi-professional team or league, which isn't a great like level, because university players would come and play there, and any like ex professional players would play in and stuff. But there's no established league, which is really really tough. For me at least. And so what my routine is, working out on my own, but also, being with a trainer, my guy Roman, for especially he helped me out with my knee injury and strengthening that and making me more strong and stable and all that stuff. And then I was working with my old Argentinian coach because he does his training. He could do one-on-one training or little group things with the boys academy that he has, and it's good because I get to train with boys. And then yeah, it's really tough. And even if there was, um, it just sucks because I would maybe have played with the semi-professional league, just get some good touches, get some minutes in, but because of COVID, everything is like shut down. No, not much team stuff, so it's tough, but I just got to do a lot on my own. But I think it's fine. I think I got it.
Chicken adobo or pupusas?
Yeah, exactly. That's what's powering me.
Nice. And in terms of doing your side stuff, I've noticed on your social media that you do like custom shoes and stuff. Could you talk
Yeah,
to us about that? Promo it definitely. Hopefully we can get you some clients on here.
cool. Yeah, no. So I'm very creative and not even just on the field. I'm off the field creative, and so I like to draw and paint. And so I started to notice people were doing this like business of taking like white shoes and just painting, or even taking a normal shoe and just painting it whatever you wanted. And so I started to do it. My first one was like for my boyfriend, and then I loved it, and I was like, oh my god, I think I'm actually good at this. And then I started my own business, and then a side hustle thing, and I wanted to stand out from it, so I wanted to make it more, I don't know, I wanted to just be different from all the other custom pages because I felt like it was so messy. They would just post a bunch of stuff, and I thought about like the stories behind the soul, and so I just thought it was unique because there's like literally clients that come up to me and they want this because of this. They want this because of this person. They want to do this for this person for the shoe. And I think it's so cool that everyone wanted different stories or just even like a normal design. And it was just a fun design I got to do. So yeah. And then I started to incorporate, aside from making the custom shoes and painting on them, I decided to give back. And if a client wanted a shoe, if they wanted a discount, they could give me a pair of shoes to donate. And then I would go and donate either cleats or shoes to some organizations here that would send it, to places like El Salvador and stuff like that. So I thought that was really, really cool to incorporate in my business. So hopefully that'll be really good and work out. So yeah.
Cool. So where can people check out your page or see some of the stuff that you've done?
So I'm just on Instagram right now, and it's _ the Soul Stories. That's my IG page for all my custom shoes, and it's really cool. My friend just posted a picture of she plays for Liverpool. She went to uni with me, and she's actually Canadian as well. She's from Cambridge, a small town here. And so, she plays for Liverpool, and she wanted Liverpool shoes, and so she's rocking it. So it's cool. I got a lot of people in my circle, but then I get to meet more people that want it, and I'm like, wow, this is great.
Do you do them yourself, or do you have someone else helping you as well?
No, it's just me.
Wow.
I'm pretty good at, because when I went to school for advertising, and so digital marketing stuff, I'm actually like very good at. That's what I do. And so I actually work also with the autism charity. So I'm doing digital marketing for them. I'm like doing a bunch of things. So I'm doing that. And then I do this page myself. I paint myself. I buy the shoes. Yeah, so working.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Go and get your shoes today.
Definitely.
Get your custom selected shoes made by Carla Portillo.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I get some. I had someone that wanted some Salvadoran shoes, but they never wrote back again. So.
Well, now they will. Hopefully, they'll find us and they'll hit you up. Do you have anything else, Will?
I think that's it. Yeah,
we'll probably go back to watching the news and seeing all the crazy stuff happening here.
I'm like having anxiety about everything. I think it's funny. I rode my bike yesterday, and I live in an apartment, so I could, there's people like windows you could see, and I think I passed through like some windows, and everyone's just watching the election here in Canada.
Crazy. That's
so
crazy.
Funny. I was like, everyone's just stressed out, like you guys.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But I think we'll be okay. The sun will come up tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, we already survived 4 years. So
Yeah. Just gotta keep going. You gotta stay positive out here.
Yeah.
That's actually like the slogan for this year, and the good thing is it's almost done. But yeah, I like that. You just gotta keep going.
Yeah, just gotta keep going.
All right. Well, definitely I appreciate it so much for you taking the time to chat with us. We just made it to episode 10, so you're our 10th episode, and it's
number.
And then on top.
Sorry, can I interrupt you?
Go ahead.
Well, with 10, obviously that's a very, prominent number, like, the 10 and, maybe one of the best players on the team. My dad would, because, he loves it so much, he wants me to be the best player. So he would go team to if I changed a lot of teams when I was younger, and I think a lot of people hated me. That's another story. Sorry. There was like this soccer forum in Ontario, and I would get hate comments by parents in these forums. I was like going team to team that I didn't pay for teams, because like growing up, I didn't have, like, my parents sacrificed a lot and we didn't have as much money. So I was thankful that some teams didn't let us pay or pay to like a smaller
So it's pay to play in Canada as well, like it is here in the States?
Yeah, you have to pay, like when I was growing up. And so it wasn't as much it is now, because I think that's a problem too. Like the kids now pay too much money, and I wouldn't have been able to afford to play. So it's crazy. But when I was growing up, like, you know, we couldn't afford some teams and stuff. So he would ask, you know, not to pay or to get less money for the registration. And people would be talking like shit online saying she doesn't pay. She goes to team. I wonder where she goes next. Oh my God. I was getting hate comments from like parents. It was crazy. I was like,
so the soccer Karens of Canada.
yeah, it was nuts. And it was so funny because it was like, where's she gonna go next? It was like forums like that you have now for like professional league. Like, oh God, it's so funny. But anyways, I forgot what I was talking about.
Number 10.
Yes. So when my dad, because he brought me to team, he would make sure I get number 10. Like he would talk to the coach. He would like, oh my gosh, it was so bad. And my dad just, oh man, not too much of a social person. So he would just demand number 10. And I think I would be taking away from girls that were there for years. And I felt so bad thinking back. But at the time I was like, yeah, I deserve number 10. Why wouldn't I take it from them? Oh my God. But yeah, so anyways, that's as much as I really, really loved number 10, my dad made sure every team I went to was number 10. It cost a lot.
Actually, here's a little secret that you didn't know. I talked to your dad before this interview, and
Really?
and we wanted to interview you the last episode 9, but he said no way. If you want to interview her, it has to be on episode 10. So that's what we're doing here.
Did. Honestly, it wouldn't put it past him. I think even now, if I would go to a team, my mom, my dad, my brother, like 10. You have to get number 10. And I'm like, you guys, like I don't know if I'm that confident anymore in my play. But yeah, it's always number 10.
That's tight. Well, I think it's cool seeing like you as a female player, you know, being able to play sports, not having to deal with typical like some gender roles that are involved in our cultures and stuff like that. And your dad totally embracing, you know, it doesn't matter. She's still going to play if she likes it. Or maybe if you didn't, like, I don't know what the dynamic was.
No, it was great. My parents, I know for a lot of girls playing in sport, you know, their culture, religion, all that stuff, they're not allowed, and their parents frown upon it. Even they frown upon it if they're want it to do it professionally. So I'm very, very thankful that my parents are like, yeah, go ahead, do what you want to do. Even in life, they're just kind of like, I think too,
move to Spain, move to Italy, move to France, you know? You're like, that's cool.
They're getting older, so they're probably like, oh, she'll figure it out. Like too much stress for them to worry. So yeah, no, I'm very thankful for that.
Okay. All right. Well, to wrap up our talk, just again, want to thank you so much for taking the time, and hopefully down the line, we'll be able to chat once again, and you can tell us what your experiences are after the comeback.
Hopefully. Yeah, definitely after the comeback. It's going to happen. I know it.
Sounds good. 2021. It's going to happen.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me, and just interviewing.
Thank you. It's been a fun talk, and I'm looking forward to doing it again once you're playing, and I definitely enjoy this episode.
Cool.
Hopefully we'll talk soon, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
All right. Take it
Bye.
easy. And there you have it, folks. That was our nice chat with the number 10 that you didn't know, the best number 10 you didn't know of yet, but now you do know, Carla Portillo. I mean, it's so funny. We had no idea the significance of 10 for her. And so the irony that all of a sudden, boom, she cuts me off, which is dope, to tell us that dope story. Like, that's what these chats are for. We want to be interrupted by our guests. We want it to be like this, you know, back and forth friendly convo. And I think this was the most chill of the conversations that we had. It was just, you know, chit chatting and whatnot. And to do it with a stranger and do it in, you know, such a nonchalant, informal, chill way, I totally appreciate it. What are your thoughts coming out of the interview, Will?
Very, very insightful. I got to learn a lot, you know, from the sport, women's soccer, and the challenges. You know, like I said in the interview, in men's soccer, you make that move from college or whatever to the professional stage as this huge upgrade, and to hear, you know, that she went from college to pro in France. And hearing, the challenges of not having the proper facilities, not having the proper trainers, it's interesting, and it leaves us with, the thought of the need for more support for women's sport. And don't forget to get
Definitely.
your shoes. Don't forget to get your shoes from Carla.
Totally, I agree with that. Check out the kicks that she does, because the customs that she does are pretty cool. But yeah, I think it's a huge point that she brings up, where there is this huge discrepancy between the men's and the women's game. But also, it's also that something that resonates too for Salvadoran soccer, in the sense that it's light years behind, countries like the U.S. or even Canada in terms of facilities, logistics, the level of professionalism, and hopefully for the women's sport in general, with the uptick in the following for women's sports, something stabilizes, and you don't necessarily have to be a, almost 6 foot white chick in the U.S. to play professional in the U.S. So hopefully that changes soon, and there's this continuum of development. I think another thing that she touched upon that was interesting was the concept of pay to play, and how she came from a family with limited resources, and that pay to play, that paywall, affects a lot of immigrant families, especially here in the U.S. and in her case in Canada. And I think that's something that definitely needs to change as well, because there's that wall there, and it's affecting Salvadoran players in the U.S. and Canada.
Definitely. So check it out.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for joining us here on the Corner Blue. Stay sane. I know it's stressful times, but we'll get through. We just got to keep on going, like Carla said. And speaking of keeping on going, we'll see you guys next week for another episode. Thank you.